All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is 3 o'clock. We will start the Human Rights Commission meeting for the City of Palm Springs, Monday, January 13th, 2020, right at 3 p.m. First up is the mission statement, item 2. Who would like to do the mission statement?
I'll read it.
Okay. You and Commissioner Ames are going to be experts at our mission statement, aren't you?
I guess so. The mission of the Palm Springs Human Rights Commission is to promote and protect the diversity of our community and to improve human relations through education and community awareness.
Excellent. Do we have a quorum?
A quorum is present.
Beautiful. At this time, we invite public comments, so any person who wishes to speak on a topic within the city's jurisdiction during this portion of the agenda must file a speaker card with staff liaison before this portion of the agenda is called. There are 3 minutes per speaker. Although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take action on any item not listed on the posted agenda. Commissioners will not enter into a discussion with speakers, but during commission comments may refer the matter to staff for report and recommendation at a future commission meeting. So we have several people that are wanting to speak today. And first up is Adam Bevington. So Adam, if you want to come, just hit that button on the microphone there. You see it, there you go. Beautiful. Thank you.
My legal name is Adam Bevington. I was, my real name before that was Johnny Gosh. I was kidnapped by the CIA. I have tons of proof on this. The FBI refuses to investigate this, and I'm asking for your protection from my government. What happened is when I was born a conjoined twin. The CIA was researching the communication that conjoined twins do, where they can know what each other's thinking. And they separated us. After they separated us again into separate families. And what happened was there was a bunch of Luciferians and there was a bunch of child sex rings that the CIA were members of. The Franklin Credit Union in Omaha, Nebraska. The Pizzagate, which is with a more modern one, which the government's all covered up. You know, people just believe whatever they want to believe. But I have tons of evidence, literally. The FBI, I had an FBI agent tell me that they were ordered from Washington, D.C. not to investigate. I have been threatened on numerous occasions by the Department of Homeland Security with being put into one of their secret prisons where I cannot speak out if I continue to speak out. This conjoined twin experiment, what happened is there was a guy, he was another Luciferian, his name was Anton LaVey. He killed Adam. And he was a friend of George Bush. There's a video out there of George Bush baby raping me when I was about 7 years old. It was used to keep George Bush in check and following the agenda. And so basically what happened was when Adam died, they moved me to Adam's family. And they used this ritual abuse type memory manipulation in this mind control program, kind of backwards, where they had my front personality become an alter and my alter became my front personality. And I was placed in a federal prison for 6 of the next 9 years, which was basically just another reprogramming site in Morgantown, West Virginia. And I'm literally not getting any protection whatsoever by any organization whatsoever. I've gone to over 2,000 organizations that had the influence and the power to do something about this, and they've done nothing. Every single one of them out of 2,000 have said nothing. They refuse to make any action whatsoever to help me. So I definitely want to make this a part of public record, so you guys can't deny that you don't know what's going on.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you. Our 3 minutes is up, but Mr. Bevington, we appreciate you being here to address us today.
Thank you.
So next up, we've got Paul Hendrickson is going to speak with us today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends and human rights commissioners. Actually, I want to ask a little bit about process, because I think I've got a couple of issues I'd like to bring forward to the Human Rights Commission, but it might be more efficient if I'm able to email you something more comprehensive. And I was wondering, if I do that, is that a more efficient process to get the topics to the commissioners?
Well, you can send the information to Dale directly, and then
Right.
Dale can share it with the full commission.
Is-
But you still would want to come and bring forward the subject that you want to address.
Okay, I think I'll do that in the future, and I'll, in advance, provide some email
Yeah.
support for that. And I just want to see how that process works. So I send it to you, Dale, and then you distribute it to the commissioners, and then I can come and speak about it. That's all I needed to know. Thanks for your help.
Hey, that
Good
was
seeing you
easy
all.
today. Thank you.
Have a good one.
We are aware that there's a couple other speakers wanting to speak in public comment, which is great for us. We usually don't have folks banging on the door to share public comment. So if everybody's okay, we will just continue public comment when the other speakers come in, abiding by the same rules and guidelines of making public comments in front of the commission. Okay, next up, we have the approval of minutes, item 5. Any comments or suggestions or edits that need to be made on the minutes? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented for December 9th, 2019.
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
All right, everybody, any other discussion on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted December 9, 2019?
Aye.
Say aye. Minutes are approved. Commissioner, staff, and student comments. We'll start with Commissioner Flood.
I have nothing this time.
Coming around the corner?
The film festival was fantastic, and a lot of really, really great films, some of which have now been nominated for Academy Awards, like Parasite from South Korea.
Yeah, excellent. Commissioner Ames? No, not yet. This is just general comments, observations in the community, anything you want to personally share.
I agree with Nikki. The film festival this year was absolutely fantastic. Got to participate in the red carpet and kind of observe how some of our visitors responded and interacted with that experience. So that was really awesome.
Excellent. Commissioner Andrade?
I have nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
How about that?
Today.
We're on a roll. I don't have anything. And Dale, do you have anything for us? Okay, item 7, items for discussion. We've got a very comprehensive committee structure nowadays. So if you have an item to bring forward from committee, just let me know. Does anybody have any items to bring forward out of committee?
So first, I'd just like to talk about the Finance Committee. Harold has agreed to work with me on that. And also, we haven't made any expenditures, but there's 2 things I think we need to discuss. Because Harold's looking for items that we can hand out at the parade. And then through the discussion, it's, he's reached out to the Sustainability Committee so that we're not creating more trash. The goal is to brand our commission, but not by creating trash. So do you want to speak to that? Because that would be a finance expenditure in the near future.
Right, so right now, we're just exploring on some of, what some of those branding items may be, and, you know, what's going to be best sustainable, and are consulting with the city. We definitely want to ensure our carbon footprint's small when we do our outreaches, so that's kind of where we're at right now.
So we do have some more time to do that, but just letting the commission know we're working on it. The second thing I want to bring up is the Harvey Milk sponsorship that we've done year after year after year. But it's still, if we do the full sponsorship, it's been $1,000, and we get the table and so on and so forth. So I think it would be wise for us to look at what other sponsorships could we do that would maybe cost less money, or perhaps we just buy some tickets and give them to appropriate people to go to the event. I think it's a fantastic event. It's one of the best run things that happens here, and it's very heartfelt and a lot of community involvement. So I'm all for us being involved in some way. I just think we should take a look at whether we should spend half our budget in this manner.
And can I just ask again what our current, what is currently there because of the film venture that was done last year that was a success?
I don't have that with me, but
Yeah.
I think there's like $2,500 or thereabouts, maybe a little more, that was created by the film event. And hasn't been transferred over, Dale, is that correct?
It has been transferred. It was $1,200. It was $1,123.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So that's there, and so we do have it, so you could say our budget is
Right.
3,000, and we really haven't spent much of anything this year except for kind of office supplies. So I don't know, how should we handle the discussion on this, Ron? I think sooner than later is better.
With what piece? You got a couple pieces.
The Harvey, all right, well, we need to get other sponsorships. Are there other sponsorships?
And then individual tickets are signature and recognition
Right.
at that sponsorship level, because that's when, at that level, the logo's included in materials. And so that's why
Right.
the $1,000 level has been that entry point.
Right,
But my suggestion to the committee is just bring forward, and if the motion is, let's table Harvey Milk for 2020 and look at other ways to be involved, then that at least gets it off of our agenda, and we don't have to spend the time that we've been spending on it, you know, on an annual basis.
all right. Well, we will do that then.
And then you had, your other item was, you were talking budget. So is there timing on budget? What I would suggest is, since we have really no formal business in February, that Dale, the committee submits a budget to Dale between now and end of February, so Dale can send the draft budget to all of us prior to the March meeting, and then the March meeting, we can review it and vote to approve or make changes to it if we need to, but that we go out of the March meeting with an approved budget to send on to council if there are any recommendations that we're making that would be different than whatever instructions you've gotten from city manager. Do we get instructions from city manager?
No, you typically just whatever your expenses have been.
Yeah, so but at flat $2,000 or something. So if there is interest that we're going to ask for additional funding for particular program activity, let's have that done for the May meeting, so then it can get forward, because they're already in full motion for budget planning, you know, at that point.
Okay, and then that's my last question. We had talked about asking city council for up to an $8,000 a year budget. Is that still on the table and going to be discussed?
Well, we didn't get it for 20 this last time. So
Okay.
I think that's why we want to make sure we take a budget whatever we're going to put forward, we need to justify and provide justification for any program activity that we're asking for. And then we need to send that on to council and ask for their support, and to David Reddy, and say, hey, this is why we're asking for the increase. We've got this specific program activity that's included in the 2020-21 budget. And then at least they're aware that we're looking for it.
Okay, all right, that's clear. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ron.
Okay.
I have a question on the Harvey Milk breakfast. Last year, I was new to the commission, and I think Dale said we were invited, we all went, or some of us went anyway. But I got an email a few days ago requesting if I wanted to attend, buy tickets, so as an individual. Is that something that I could still do if I wanted to do that?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And if the commission's not formally, going as a sponsor, then you could certainly, unless there's objection, you could be a representative commission,
Oh,
at
okay.
the breakfast.
I see, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and see where your badge.
Right. My shirt.
Okay, does that take care of us for Community Relations and Budget Personnel Committee? Anything on master calendar that we need to, yes, we do have master calendar material. You had a question.
The question about the community picnic at the end of March.
Yes,
Usually, we participate in that, and we have a table, and I was just asking Ron if that's something that we're going to do again this year, because if we are, then we would have to have representatives there, and any information that we would want to have. And I think that it is important for us to be out and about at events, especially because we're still trying to call attention to ourselves after 25 years, is it now almost, that this commission has been
Yeah.
here? And so that people know that we're here and know that we're involved. And so I don't know if we have anybody who is interested in participating. It's at the end of March, and it would be on a Saturday. We just would have to tell them that we're going to be there and have our table, and be sure to have a pop-up because it can get hot there. So that's all that I wanted to kind of take a temperature reading, I guess, because it's been for 2-hour shifts in the past, but then sometimes people are there all day just to cover the table, so I don't know how we feel about that.
I can commit to that event.
So can I think it'd be a great idea for exposure and to be involved.
I can be there.
so, and what are the hours, do we know, again, 10 to 1 or 10 to 2?
Typically, we go and we set up at 10, I believe. It could be 9, but I think it's 10. And it's usually over by about 2.
Yeah, so the commissioners that are able to put it on your schedule now, are you committed for 10 to 2?
Date, March 31st?
Dale, do you know? You know what, it's on the calendar.
It's March 21st,
20,
yes.
Right.
so we just, we'll submit the paperwork, we just need to make sure we've got commitment from commission that we can cover the whole time. So if we're feeling, if the three of you feel good about it, then,
Yeah, we can get it now.
okay. All right, so we will move forward on that, and get that processed. Okay, nothing else on community relations? Terry, you don't have anything on calendar? You're good?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to get with Annie and have the date, the information on the bottom of the calendar
No, but
updated?
I was going to talk to Dale
Okay,
afterwards.
perfect. All right, Culture Affairs Committee. We have the film screening. Any updates on film screening?
So I'll step in here for the film screening. So currently where we're at with that, we're checking licensure. Also, we want to finalize our collaboration with the Desert Highland community. We're also looking at some capacity building with the Palm Springs Film Festival and maybe similar vendors. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
So we're not going to be able to do the event on February 9th. I want to speak to the future because, you know, I'm not necessarily going to be here for the future events, and I really hope that the commission continues this as a legacy event. It is not as easy as perhaps it sounds, and it requires far in advance work. The reason was it was just basically Terry and I at the beginning, and we did a good job. We went out, we met with the community, we involved, you know, citizens in the process, and it all went. And it wasn't until, you know, we had our topic, then we started searching for an appropriate movie, and we couldn't find one, that we realized, uh-oh, this is completely opposite than what we did in the first year. We've identified a community, a partner, and a topic, and now we're trying to find a film. Whereas last year, I had the film, we picked the community partner, and so on. So we had explored at one of our subcommittee meetings about, well, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be a film. Maybe it can be, we looked at a jazz concert fundraiser. We looked at a basketball game with the police department. But when it was all said and done, and there were 2 or 3 other people at the subcommittee meeting that are not commissioners, everyone felt that the film event is the right thing to do. So we are going to cancel our reservation at the Camelot, and I think it's wise for us to look at this being a fall event, maybe even as late as September, but we'll organize all that. So we are pursuing now, and one of the films that we're looking at, which would be, I think, fantastic, this was at Terry's suggestion, it's called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. It just aired at the Palm Springs Film Festival. It's fantastic. It's about a young boy in Somalia or Africa, maybe somewhere.
I'd love to take credit for suggesting that movie, but I didn't. I think it was Jilska.
Oh, Jilska. Sorry, Jilska, coming from the past.
Just to set the record.
You're right, it was. Anyhow, they have a drought in his country and in his village and in his neighborhood, and they're going to starve to death if something isn't done. And so the little boy who wanted to go to school, but his parents couldn't afford to pay for him to go to school, he would sneak in and go to the library. Anyhow, he figured out how to make a wind generator to pump the water out of the well into the fields and grow crops. It was just a fantastic film. So the next hurdle is it's the rights to that film is held by Netflix. So, you know, now we're asking a corporation who would normally charge a fee, can we have it for free or very little? So I'm going to stay hopeful. So I will be contacting a person. The film festival has given us the name of the person that we need to contact at Netflix, and I'll be able to report on that the next time we come. But I think the subcommittee should start now about the following year. And then sometimes I think if you work with the film festival people and you get advance notice and you know what's going to come, you can see what they're about, you can pick the appropriate one way in front. Now, it happened that no one from the film came here this year. Often there's directors, actors, all kinds of stuff. So I think that since we have this fantastic event in our city, that we should use that resource to kind of get a jump on it. Now, of course, they're not going to want us to show anything until after the film festival. They won't want us to steal their thunder. But it's a ripe source for good movies that we can maybe meet and talk to the people while they're here. Anyhow, sorry for the long-winded, but we're working on it, and I still anticipate a really wonderful event.
Yeah, excellent. And just keep in mind, we don't have a full agenda in February. So you said you would come back with more information, that we wouldn't be coming back for more information until March for the full commission. February is the awards meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll
Okay.
be back in March.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so if we could take a break now, we've got our speakers here, the additional speakers for public comment. So we will resume public comment, and first in the line is Jeff Hocker coming forward. And actually, it's a hot mic, Jeff, so you're ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Is it okay to do handouts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time speaking before the Human Rights Commission, so thank you. I'm here on behalf of JFS Desert. I'm the publicist, speaking on behalf of Assistant Executive Director Craig Johnson. JFS Desert is located at 490 South Farrell Drive here in Palm Springs. Their website is jfsdesert.org. And Craig was going to come and give us an update on their programs, but he'll come back probably in March or April and do that. But I wanted to make you aware of an event. JFS Desert is almost 40 years old, and they have over 700 sessions, therapy sessions per month with clinicians. And they give over $80,000 each year in rental and utility assistance, as well as they have 6 senior socialization programs at locations valley-wide called Let's Do Lunch, which really gives senior citizens an opportunity to get out of their homes and have a warm lunch, as well as many times there's entertainment, and it gives them an opportunity to intermingle with other seniors here in the community. So the event that I wanted to make you aware of, which you have a press release in front of you, is Daryl Davis. He has a very interesting hobby. For the past 30 years, he's befriended members of the Ku Klux Klan. And since Davis started talking with them, he's got 200 Klansmen's robes. What he does is he finds that when you sit down with people, as you guys all know, and you start communicating with each other, sometimes you can find common ground. And so 200 of these Ku Klux Klan members have given up their robes, and he now has them in his house as a reminder. So as a race relations expert, Daryl has received great acclaim for his book, Clandestine Relationships, and also this event that he's doing on March 15th is called Accidental Courtesy, which is also part of a PBS documentary that he did based upon this story. So it's coming up Sunday, March 15th at the Annenberg Theater. The VIP reception part where he'll meet and greet with people is at 4 o'clock, and then the show is at 6 o'clock. So I guess am I able to ask questions during this period?
You can just present to us. We
Okay.
can give you an answer. So you
Okay.
can ask a question.
Well, one of the questions that we were thinking, well, also let me tell you that Lee Irwin and Tim Joshin, who you know, Contour Dermatology, are getting the JFS Humanitarian Award this year. I guess the question would be, when it comes to events like this, has the Human Rights Commission ever put their stamp of approval or, in some way supported the events? We're not looking for financial support, just in a way that we can get more involved with the community. And, this is the perfect arena for that when it comes to human rights, especially as it relates to JFS services, because this event is going specifically to fund homeless programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawker. Appreciate it. And next we have Craig Scott, who is here to address in public comment.
Hi, thank you. My name is Craig Scott. I've been working as a volunteer, LGBT people who've been seeking asylum from many different countries. I've done work on the other side of the border. I go to the camps, I visit people there, and I also work with people once they've been released from the camps and try to get them housing and get them set up to start a new life here in the United States. One of the people that I've been helping is Luis. Say hi, Luis. Luis was one of the people who, if you were watching the news a little over a year ago, was part of the caravans that he walked up from Honduras. And he went through the concentration camps. He was in there almost 10 months. I went and picked him up in San Diego at the end of November. I've been working with him to try to get him his working papers submitted, have him fed and clothes and whatnot, get him a phone, medical care, looking for dental care, and there's just a lot of needs. There are also a lot of people with these needs, and I'm just here to ask to start a conversation with you over the next few months on how the city of Palm Springs might be able to help some of these people in whatever capacity the city is able to do this. These people have suffered horrible things. I want to pass out the current issue of a gay LGBT magazine, and on page 24 of this issue, there's a story about me and my partner and Luis, and it tells a little bit more about what we've been doing and the challenges that Luis has gone through and things like that. I'd also want to pass out, I only brought 5 copies of this guy I've been visiting in the concentration camp in Adelanto. His name is Nicholas. He's from Jamaica. He's watched a lot of his friends be killed because they were gay, and he fled Jamaica because he didn't want to be killed. And he's sitting up there in this prison now, waiting and hoping to get out. He has a hearing on February 5th. He expects to be out on February 5th, and I hope he does. When he does get out, whether it's February 5th or a later date, he's going to need some support. And there's a lot of people like Nicholas and Luis who need things. Some people have connected with the right people and they're getting the help. There's a woman that I just helped recently that I used to visit in Adelanto. She was released in December and she's now in Oregon, and she's got a family that's working with her and taking care of her and helping her. But there's just a lot of really amazing people who need some help. So I hope to talk with you more going forward. I'm not asking for any solutions today, but I just want to start the conversation and start communicating and sharing information. So thank you for your time.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So if you pass those around and
Yeah.
share it.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes care of our public comment for today. Thank you for
Pass those around now.
adjusting the calendar. Next up is announcement on Community Service Awards. So the slate that was approved last month by the commission for 2020 honorees, they all have been notified and accepted, and everybody is thrilled. So we're proud to announce today at today's meeting that the recipients for the 2020 Human Rights Commission Community Service Awards will be Joy Brown Meredith, Brothers of the Desert, Jenny Fote, Rabbi David Lazar, Catherine V. Forrest, Chief Brian Reyes, and Brian Wesnick, and one of the founders of the Human Rights Commission in the city of Palm Springs, the Honorable Ron Oden. So we're excited that we've got such an incredible slate. So thank everybody for your participation in selecting these folks this year. And now what we do is we get ready for next month's meeting where we have, it's focused entirely on the awards presentation. And for the last couple of years, we've asked any of the commissioners who would like to take the point in presenting any one of the awards, if you had a connection that was important to you for any one of the honorees. We invite you to be the one to present them or to introduce them at the meeting and present them with their award along with whichever council representatives we have attending the meeting. So is there, if we could just get a feeling for interest, then we'll come back through and we'll put together an agenda. So Glenn, do you have anybody in particular that you would like to introduce?
Not at the moment. I need to give it a little more thought, I guess.
Okay, yep, sounds good.
Catherine Forrest or Ron Oden for me.
Yep.
I'd be interested in contributing to the process too.
Yeah, well, you're on
just
the, we're not going to let you get away. You're on the subcommittee.
I was thinking Ron too.
Okay. No, this is good. Let's just express interest, and then we'll figure out the distribution, okay? So anybody that you have key interest in.
Did you have someone that you have key interest in? Yeah, Ron. Okay, okay. I would love to do Joy. And would consider David Lazar as well.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Vice Chair?
I'll do Chief Brian Reyes. Now, my app that I used to use for my presentations has been disappeared.
Oh, no.
So if I have to pre-record it instead of doing my little appy thing, and I'll have a little portable speaker. If I have any problems, I'll give you a call.
Yeah. No, that whichever process works best for you.
Yeah, but if the process goes awry, totally, I'll call you.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay, so then what we'll do now, we'll go back through and we'll put together the actual agenda. We'll get invitations out to City Council to have their participation. And Dale will order all the awards. He's prepared to make that happen now. And then the subcommittee will put the agenda together, and we will meet back in council chambers for the actual award presentation. But prior to that, you'll get a note from the subcommittee if you're introducing somebody with a specified introduction. And we ask that you use the introduction that's provided and reach out to the honoree and let them know that you'll be their liaison if they've got any questions prior to the presentation. Okay?
Since there's so few of us, it looks like we're all going to have to take multiple roles. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to assign some others, and at the executive committee there was also a conversation. Maybe we do some other types of ways to present to. So the first off was to get everybody's input on who, if they had somebody that they really would like to be the one to introduce, and then now we'll fill in the blanks. Okay. So thank you for that. Is there anything that we need to cover on the awards from your perspective? Okay.
Your signature.
Okay, I'll sign those. Okay, so next we've got senior veteran issues. Any updates?
Just FYI, and backing up to the Desert Highland Gateway Estates.
Okay.
I guess they will still meet tomorrow, Tuesday, I think is when they usually meet. But I went to the meeting last month, which I found out there was no meeting, but I was there anyway, so. But they didn't, I had no way of knowing that they had canceled their meeting, so. But because even some of the people at the location said, yes, we're having a meeting, and I waited 15 or 20 minutes, nobody showed up. But that's just FYI. And also FYI on the veterans issues, the Palm Springs American Legion Post 519 is getting a lot of mileage out of the color guard leading off the Pride Parade this past November. And they're really keen on that. They sent out a news release to their headquarters, and it went pretty much on the internet, worldwide to American Legion, which is quite a large number of people. It's the largest veterans association. So I just wanted to pass that along, and they're looking forward to doing it again this year, so that's all.
Yeah, excellent.
And also with that, tomorrow they have a meeting, so I'll be at that meeting first around 5 o'clock and hopefully get over to Desert Highlands around before 7. So
Yeah, beautiful.
that's all.
There was a slight correction that I helped them to better understand the history. There was a feeling that this was the first year that military have led off the Pride Parade in Palm Springs, and actually Palm Springs has led the country in having military leading the Pride Parade, even prior to the recognition that San Diego has with military leading their Pride Parade. So we have a long relationship. Primarily, it was led by Mel Tips, who passed away this last year and a half ago or so. But Mel was a great advocate for the community and veterans in general, and it was his credit for making that happen for so many years. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, didn't intend to skip over that item. Nothing, anything else on the updates? Down to executive committee. So executive committee, Commissioner Andrade, do you want to have any input on the update from what came out of executive committee?
Well, I want to start by giving a plug to Executive Committee because I just attended my second meeting, and it really is worth it for commissioners to take a round at that because you learn a lot that you didn't know before. And so if you have an opportunity to be that third person, that alternate, please consider doing it because you do learn quite a bit. Yeah, we talked a lot about the awards and how we might structure those, and it's my second year doing the awards, so I feel like I had a little bit of understanding, which was helpful. And I also had given Ron heads up at the meeting that we weren't going to be able to meet that February 9th deadline, and we had talked about the possibility of the other activities. I think there's still activities that have a lot of merit, and we might want to bring them back later on as an additional activity besides the film. I mean, the film is an awesome legacy thing, but we had a lot of discussion around some of the other possibilities for activities, and I think that we might want to keep some of that alive, if you would agree. So, okay, thank you.
The other thing that was pointed out at the meeting was that World Day of Social Justice is coming up on February 20 of 2020. It is one of the days that we have acknowledged that we would like to recognize, and we were going to speak about it a little bit here at today's meeting, but subsequent to additional conversations happened, and we think we're just going to go ahead and highlight it at next month's meeting, which is during the month. So thank you for that, Dale, and we will carry that over for part of the agenda, which is very fitting on the day that we're recognizing people whose work in the human rights arena has had an impact in Palm Springs.
Did you receive my information?
Yes, I did,
Okay,
and I
good, thank
even
you.
made another paragraph and printed it, and it's still at home.
as long as you got it.
Yes. Okay, so that takes care of executive committee update, I believe. Commission development mediation, any updates? Topical newsworthy items? Sweet. We have an action item, which we previously discussed in the committee update, but do we need an action item on Harvey Milk? Or we can, do we want to table it indefinitely? Do we want, I think we should, my suggestion is that we have some action, even if it's the motion from committee that we're not participating as a $1,000 sponsor. And then we just get it off of the agenda.
Right now?
Yeah.
I think that our commission is still in need of people knowing that we're here, and and a big piece of Harvey Milk are the young people who come, and we don't even have our students here because I still don't think that a lot of them know that we're here. So I would suggest that we consider even if commissioners opt to pay the $65, and we still, but I do believe that to have a sponsor and be a part of it is so important, because even if we have a table and we pay for ourselves to go, people aren't going to know that we're here. And I think that in these times, that if there's a little bit of extra money that is in the pot, that I do believe that it's worth our time to be there for our kids, and to be there so that people are aware. Would I prefer that it didn't cost $1,000 to do that? Yes, but it does, and I know that the money is needed to run that big event where the kids take up a good portion of the room, and somebody has to pay for them to go. So I just feel like that is an important part of what we do. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So I haven't seen all, usually an organization like that has advertising packages. So my question, and I'm directing it to you, Ron, is because you're so involved with the event. Is there any branding opportunity under $1,000 that doesn't include tickets to the event? Because I do think that we as commissioners, if we want to go, we can buy our own tickets. I just find buying the table for commissioners wasteful, because either they don't show up or we're scrambling at the last minute to give away the tickets to other people. So I'm not opposed to spending the money, but we need to maximize what it is. So one suggestion could be the tickets are $65 each, right?
To the end of the month.
Yeah, till the end of the month. Well, we could authorize it soon. But we could buy 8 tickets for $565, solicit 4 people from Palm Springs schools, and 4 of us could go and sit with them and try to make a table in that way. That would be impactful in the sense of we'd be reaching out to the schools to get people to come sit with us. That seems like a better use, and it's about half the money, but I didn't let you answer the question. Are there any branding opportunities less than $1,000, where we get logo exposure, name mentions, and so on?
The student teams of 10 can be sponsored for $600 or $650, and that has the name recognition in the program and on the table where the students are invited to sit. So that is probably the next most high-profile, way for recognition. So, but that's making it possible for 10 high school students to attend the breakfast. And the commission has no involvement after that. The commission, or somebody could buy the table and they donate those seats to 10 students who then the Harvey Milk Coalition works to bring to the breakfast.
Well, I suggest, I guess I could put it in the form of a motion, that instead of doing the $1,000 sponsorship that we have done in the past, that we buy the $650 package, which would sponsor 10 high school students to come to the event, and we would get name recognition in the program and at the table, and any commissioners who wanted to go could buy their own tickets.
Okay, is there a second of that motion?
I second it.
Any other discussion on the motion on the table to buy a student, to support a student table sponsorship for the Harvey Milk Diversity Breakfast, May 7, 2020?
So is there anyone interested in purchasing a ticket of their own so that we can still be there? Because I am,
I will.
but
I
I don't
planned also.
want to go alone.
I plan to get a ticket.
So could we organize for 5 of us then also to write our checks so that we can also be there?
Yeah, so individual people can go online or fill out
then
the
we wouldn't
form
be together
and just
necessarily.
list a guest list for that you wanting to sit together. So that all can be done now. That too, it changes on February 1st. So the $65 ticket goes to $75 on February 1st. So if the idea is to do something collectively, you save $10 by doing it before the end of the month. Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, motion carries. Excellent work for making that happen this year. Thank you. We are done with that. Item 8B, the Black History Month table was brought back onto this month's agenda to determine, did we want to confirm having a presence at the Black History Fair? It's not called Black History Fair.
At the event.
It's the fair, after the parade. We've already committed to be in the parade.
So at this time, we have 3 commissioners who are committed to walking.
And can you remind me, am I one of them?
No.
Okay,
But
so
you could be.
I am.
So Commissioner Flood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames, and me.
Okay, and I'm committed for that day. To
Great.
walk in the parade.
Okay.
Okay, so Flood, Ames, Chappelle, and DeHart. Okay, so back to the question on the table. Is there any interest to staff a table at the fair, which takes place after the parade to, I don't think it's late in the day on Saturday?
That goes until about 6 p.m.
6,
You
okay.
have to be there the whole time, I wouldn't think.
And what's the date?
20, what is it? Is that right? That doesn't sound right to me, Terry. Do you have the calendar?
Always, it seems really late to me, it throws me too. I have it on my calendar.
Oh, 29, okay. Oh, we have a leap year. Okay,
So that's the same day, okay. So, okay, now my calendar is all wrong, don't pay any attention to me. I have the one PS picnic going up for days.
yes.
So I will have to fix that.
So the PS picnic, it's March, say again?
March 21.
2/1. And then Black History, the parade is the last Saturday in February, which is 2/29, right? Okay, right? So 2/29. So any interest to staff the table? I didn't, this was brought back from our last meeting for today's agenda item. if we have interest to really have a showing for the parade, then I think my recommendation is that we put the support behind that presence and not dilute our efforts to try to then also staff a table.
Right, and also to, and again, we're working on this, we have nothing to hand out. We have
Exactly.
very little literature about the commission, and of course, all that needs to be worked on, but until we get organized and we're ready, otherwise, we're just sort of going out there and winging it. So that, my vote would be no table this year.
I was thinking the same thing, because we're going to be hard pressed to be ready for the 1PS 3 weeks later in terms of handouts and things of that nature. So yeah, we probably should forego the table in favor of our efforts in the parade.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other thoughts? Hearing none, we will stick with our presence in the parade. Moving on to item 9, agenda items for our next meeting.
Well, not the February meeting, but the March meeting. I'd like to be on the agenda for the film update. We should have more information by then.
And a budget.
And, well, we got to get the budget to you before the March meeting, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll work on that, all right.
Okay, and I believe this, thinking it through to March, I believe, Terry, you've got one more month for executive committee, and then we go to
I do.
another quarter. So if everybody, if the three of you would like to think about who would like to step on to the executive committee for the next quarter, so that would be going March, April, May. And let's know that, so when we go into our next full meeting, we'll have, we'll already know who that
Are
person.
we going to do a March or a February executive?
Probably,
Okay.
we can decide, yeah.
Yeah.
But we go by quarters, so just keep in the back of your mind, if you'd like to do that. And Dale, do you have anything on
No.
agenda items?
The budget was the only item.
Okay, so we got the budget to go in. I'm thinking, do we know the cost on what the awards are? And,
Last
you
year, they
remember what
were
it was?
37.
what is it?
37 each.
The plaques.
Yeah, but we're doing fewer this year, right?
8.
And how, do you remember what we did last year?
9 or 10?
9.
Oh, so we do have a $300-ish expense for the awards. And I think we don't have any other expenses on the award program, or at least we haven't. So looking at when you are thinking about the budget, just keep that in mind. Okay, any other additions for next month's agenda? Hearing none, we have an announcement. Dale, do you want to share that?
Annually, the county conducts a point-in-time count for their homelessness. It's January 29th, and it's available through our city's website to register, and we have 2 trainings coming up. So if you're interested, we would appreciate.
And when you register, are you automatically assigned to Palm Springs? Or do
You
have to-
request, you have to request
Okay.
Palm Springs. If you do not, you could be assigned to an adjacent city.
And there's an obvious place on the form to request
There
Palm
is.
Springs?
It
Okay.
lists the cities.
Oh, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
All right.
the hyperlink's working now. I don't know if it was working.
Yeah.
And then, I think one more thing to add to that, I think what I read on the same day is something at the convention center about talking about homelessness.
Yeah,
the
that's
same day?
important.
Is that the
That-
one that
Is that the
goes
task
on
force?
after from
Yeah.
11 to 1?
The Homeless and
Yeah, I think
Housing
it's
Task
at
Force is
5:30
meeting.
until, that's what I read at least.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So I
Yeah.
just wanted
That's
to let
correct.
you guys know that.
Could, is there possible to send us out that info in case we can get there?
Okay.
For what, the count or
the-
the meeting?
The
Not
meeting.
for the count, for the informational meeting that's going
Yeah.
on
plan on
in
being
the
there,
evening.
Is it the task force meeting, Dale? What is the meeting?
It's the council subcommittee, homelessness and
Oh,
affordable
okay.
housing.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And input will be collected on expending the 10 million that the city has been awarded. So it's an important meeting, I think. Yeah.
Okay. All right, if we don't have any other announcements,
I don't know if it's an announcement, but I don't know if anybody watched city council the other night, but a lot went on in terms of decision-making and as far as commissions and boards are concerned, whereas you used to have to be a registered voter to participate on a board, you won't have to be anymore. You also don't even have to be a resident. You can go to school or work here. So that's a change that's come down that I think is important if you didn't see it in the meeting. They also decided not to appoint liaisons, council liaisons to us. I think they're going to rethink that process. I watched it today just so I could look like I was really knowledgeable.
And you do.
But yeah, they usually at this meeting every year, they appoint the liaisons to our committee, and they said they weren't going to do that they wanted to opt for a better process. So I don't know what that is, but they're going to have a study session, I guess, in April that will include that. So I guess we will be kind of parentless children for a little while. So I wanted to actually talk about that. And then last but certainly not least is the ordinance that we cannot have a meeting prior to 5:30 in the afternoon.
And when are they going to,
When I believe.
When are they going to expect that we adhere?
It's an ordinance, yeah. They affected our whole, so yeah. And the same thing with, one last thing is youth members. If we have youth members, they are voting members now. So anybody 18 or older, so just information. Okay?
But our student member is, it doesn't change unless they've added the wording that 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds can have a vote. But the minor has never been, had a vote at the table.
And
we include
rarely would we have an 18-year-old student.
Right.
Yeah.
It does happen, it could.
So ours were younger than 18.
yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, so interesting, I didn't realize that they created an ordinance on.
I think it's an
time.
amendment to our current ordinance. I don't think it's a brand-new one, but,
Okay.
but it's on YouTube. Anybody wants to look at it?
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Definitely, it's there already, so good to know.
So we will wait for direction from city staff on scheduling, so there's no change in the immediate future on our scheduling, our timing, our location. And as a matter of fact, we will adjourn to a regular meeting Monday, February 10, 2020 at 3 p.m. in the city council chamber. So that will be the one difference, is we will not be in the large conference room. We will be over in council chambers on the 10th. So we are adjourned at 4:04.